Alright everyone, I hope you all enjoyed this video here along Highway 95 in Nevada between the towns of Hawthorne and Fallon. So this particular stretch of Highway 95 just north of Hawthorne is my personal favorite stretch of Highway 95 in Nevada because it is absolutely amazing how Highway 95 meanders along the western shore of Walker Lake here in Nevada. And if you guys have been watching any of my videos here along Highway 95 in Nevada, you'll probably notice that we're pretty much just traveling through the desert with like no signs of life or water anywhere to be found, but this video is the big exception to that rule. Walker Lake truly feels like a big oasis in the middle of the Nevada/Great Basin Desert, but don't drink the water there, it's not going to taste very good, let me tell you. So believe it or not, Walker Lake is the second largest natural lake in Nevada after Pyramid Lake. And what's also funny about these two lakes is that they're the remnants of an ancient lake that used to exist about 10 to 12,000 years ago called Lake Lahontan. Now, Pyramid Lake has pretty much retained its size throughout the last 150 years, give or take, ever since white settlement, but Walker Lake has been shrinking at an alarming rate here over the past several years and decades since white settlement. And this is mainly due to water diversions farther up along the Walker River. Of course, you got Topaz Lake there along Highway 395 there at the California-Nevada border. And then farther downstream, you also have the Weber Reservoir there as well, also taking water out of the Walker River that would normally flow into Walker Lake. So my grandpa and I actually spent quite a bit of time here at Walker Lake just checking out a few of the beaches here along the western shore of the lake just off of Highway 95 here. So I actually have a full video of exploring Walker Lake with my grandpa. If you guys want to check out that video down in the description of this video right here, I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you want to learn about the sad history of Walker Lake and why it keeps disappearing. Highway 95 through Nevada really is a very interesting drive if you really just give it a chance and really take in the scenery, especially the time of the year that I drove it during the spring, where a lot of the higher mountains still have a lot of snow on them, and it just really adds to the entire driving experience, let me tell you folks. Alright folks, before I end off the video with all my various plugs, I would like to ask you guys, what other drives would you like to see me do here in Nevada? Because I truly, really enjoy driving through Nevada. Not so much in the big cities, but man, just the rural drives out here in the middle of Nevada are just awesome. And I really enjoy it. Like, it just makes me happy. I don't know if you guys can really relate to that, but I just love wide open roads. So, a few things I was thinking off the top of my head. I really want to try to drive the entire extraterrestrial highway because I think that is probably one of the more interesting drives in Nevada, not just because of all the alien conspiracy theories, but it's actually a very scenic drive, and it's also very remote, which I really enjoy as well. So very similarly to Highway 95 here, I would also like to do maybe Highway 93 through Nevada, because that's also a very interesting and scenic drive and goes through a lot of charming small towns, just like Highway 95 here does between Reno and Vegas. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think. I would really love to hear your opinions in the comments. Alright everyone, I just want to give a shout out to all my social media accounts that you see on the screen here because I really am trying to grow my social media accounts beyond just here on YouTube. I would really appreciate it if you guys would check out my Instagram. I'm really trying to grow that social media platform, so I would really appreciate it if you guys would follow me on there. My username is just InterstateKyle. What's really cool about my Instagram is if I'm on a road trip, I will post on my story of where I am and what I'm doing, so it's just a really cool way for you guys to follow along with me in real time to see what I'm doing and what I'm up to. I know my videos on here can get pretty dated very quickly, so if you guys want to see what I'm doing in real time, I highly recommend checking out my Instagram, and I would really appreciate your support over there. You guys can also check out my Facebook group and my Twitter/X account. The links to all those are down in the description. Another thing I want to give a shout out to is my Patreon, which is a way for you guys to support me beyond YouTube here. If you guys want to join my Patreon, you guys can get special perks for joining, like watching all of my videos early before they are released here on YouTube. And all the money I make on there goes right back into this YouTube channel to keep producing more of these types of videos in the future. The link to my Patreon is also down in the description, so if you really want to check it out, I would really appreciate your extra support over there as well. And another thing that is set up on my channel is Super Thanks, which is located to the right of where you would normally like one of my videos. What that basically is just a way for you guys to tip me out for each video going forward if you feel that I've earned it, of course. And then all the money on there also goes right back to this channel to keep producing more of these types of videos in the future. And with all that said, folks, I really hope you all enjoyed this drive here along Highway 95 between Hawthorne and Fallon, and this series on Highway 95. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you all for the next adventure. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day, everybody.